So just for context, Winter, how long have we known each other now? Since,
About 6 years.
yeah, about 6 years.
Yeah.
So she actually manages a couple of the vacation rental homes that I have down in Galveston.
Yep.
And I've got a few questions that I thought you guys might like to have the answers to. And she was really good. She kind of posted out some of the questions to help me out here.
Listen, listen, we can go off script. We can do that too. Let's go.
But I have a feeling I'd be asking these questions anyway.
You probably would.
So one of those questions being, if you were potentially, first of all, why this isn't on your script?
I'm loving it.
Why, aside from income, do you see most people start with their interest in getting a vacation rental?
Absolutely. So a vacation rental for a lot of folks is the entryway into them having a second home and an investment property. So you can have both.
Right.
Having a second home, you think you're going to go all the time. You know, the kids grow up, things change, and you find a way to augment some of the expenses of that vacation home or that second home. The growth of the vacation rental industry has been tremendous over the last few years with, the growth of Airbnb and Vrbo. And as beach markets, for example, for us grow, clearly vacation rentals have grown. So people do it for a variety of reasons. One is that second home, but in addition to that, they do it because they can potentially offset some of the costs and sometimes make money that, from an investment standpoint. The third thing that I'd say, Deb, before I stop there, is there's always the equity, that growth that happens with that home. So if you buy right, you can buy a home and 5 years later, it's appreciated in value.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. Matter of fact, I'll probably wrap that up and I'll share with you like firsthand the experience that we're having with my own personal vacation rental, what that looks like financially, because I think that's a good thing, because that's real world, at least it's real world to me.
Yeah.
But I will just also say, yes, it's an investment opportunity, but it's an investment opportunity that also on the flip side has the ability to, honestly, it is nice to go and do a getaway. For us, it's just 30 minutes down the street, but that really feels like a getaway without going and renting a hotel or somebody else's rental, because you kind of feel like it's your home away from home.
That's exactly right.
Because it's set up the way you want it to be set up. All your stuff is there, and when we go down there, it's easy.
It's easy.
We pack for a few days, but everything else is there.
Everything else is there. Lots of people will keep their own private refrigerator in the owner's closet because their favorite drinks are there. Their favorite things are, like it's literally a home away from home where you can kind of slip away, spend a few days, decompress, get a clarity break, and spend some time with the family and come on back home.
And I'll be honest with you, I think if, even though it's like, man, it would be really cool to have a vacation rental in Colorado or some exotic place. But the fact of the matter is, by the time I got the airplane booked and I flew over there and then I rented a car and did all those things, having one that's 30 minutes down the road is, it's just easy.
It's super easy. And what people, I feel like, do is, particularly when you're coming from either here or the Houston market, is, it's their family's little getaway.
Yeah.
They build all these memories. And so a lot of these homes become generational even. And they go from one, from the mom and dad to the son and daughter. And you see that often.
Right. And you're having your costs offset
You
because
absolutely
you're
are.
using it as a vacation rental.
That's exactly right.
So if somebody's coming to you, and I know when I have somebody that's looking for a vacation rental, I'll share with you, for the most part, Winter does a vacation rental managing. You don't necessarily sell the homes, but you'll get with somebody like myself.
That's exactly right. You're on the team.
Yeah. You get with somebody like ourselves here on the team, help identify the property and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's super important.
What would you say if somebody was potentially interested in finding a vacation rental? What should they be looking for and what should they be asking?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some guidelines that I'd like to give. They usually play into also what the owners like. So some people want to be in town. Some people want to be on the West End. So in Galveston, we have the East End, we have West End, we have the Strand.
It's a very different experience in each place.
It's a midtown. Like you
Yeah.
could be in the middle of Galveston. I mean, it determines whether you're in a neighborhood or so. It just there's a lot of sometimes what they want, but then there's some rules that's kind of like the guardrails within. It's freedom within a framework.
Yeah.
So location is always important.
Yeah.
Period. Not specifically where on the island, but where within that where. So if you're going to be on the West End and you want to maximize revenue, well, we love you to be first row, second row, canal. But we want you to be close enough to the water that people can get to it pretty quickly and they can see it.
I was going to say, see it, smell it,
That's
feel
exactly, hear it, that sound, the sound of the ocean.
Yeah.
People talk about it all the time. If you're going to be near the Strand, you know what? I'd love to be able to put in that listing that you're only 4 blocks, that you're only 3 to 4 blocks, because generally that's what people can walk comfortably and not feel like they need, something extra, particularly if, they, that's where they want to be for Mardi Gras or something of that sort. So location is key. That's location within the location is key. In addition to that, it's always, and what it's become even more so, it's always about the amenities. What is it that home offers that makes that home almost a destination in itself?
Yeah.
It needs to almost stand alone. If you have a home that is just like every other home, it doesn't pop out on the page. The pictures don't stand out. It's just tough. What makes that home special? And what I've learned over the years is that almost every one of these homes have something to make it special. You just have to figure out what that is and highlight it.
They want to have a story.
You want them, and you want them to have a story, frankly. You want them to have a story. So if we can tell a story and make that home special and make the story also about, when I went to this home, you should have seen we have one home we manage and the whole garage is like a man cave. Yeah. And people love it and they write the reviews about it, but it's because there's something special about it.
Yeah, and I think you can have different flavors of stories, right? You
Absolutely.
can have the story of the location.
Yeah.
You can have the story of the actual home itself and its history.
Yeah.
You can have the story of what you did to the home to make it pop out, right?
That's exactly right. One of the rentals is a 1900 storm survivor. And literally in one of the books that talk about the 1900 storm of Galveston, this home is in that book.
Nice.
And so what we did is we blew up that picture.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you see this home floating and it was saved.
Wow.
And so it's one of the homes that, it's people who love history.
Yeah.
They love that home.
Yeah.
And so it helps people select a home when they're choosing a vacation rental, but it also helps the home stand out on the page.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in Galveston, there was this past year, there were 4,200 vacation rentals. How do you
differentiate yourself?
How do you differentiate yourself so that when someone's looking, they pick yours?
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, but we can always do it.
What about location? You mentioned several locations. Do you think there are some locations that are more favorable than others? I mean, so first of all, if you're going to be staying in it yourself, and it's the same thing, I get a phone call, hey, I'm thinking about doing this to my house. Will that be good for resale? It's like, well, I'm happy to answer that question, but you're buying that place for yourself. And I think you kind of need to have a balance.
You do.
So back to location.
Yeah.
So first of all, it should be a location you want to
live in.
Because we're going to assume that that's part of the reason you're getting this vacation rental.
Sure.
Aside from that factor, what's your input on that location?
What is it near? So like you pick a location that you enjoy, but can you get to the major attractions? Is going to restaurants important to you, or would you rather just be there quietly fishing? So is it near a fishing pier? Is it near the things that people want to do on vacation? When they leave their home to go on vacation, there should be something that draws them in, because guess what? Generally, like you can put people in buckets and say, Dad wants to fish, Mom wants to lay out, like the kids want to go to the beach. Like, how is it that the home can have all of those things, or the things that are important to you, so that you can make sure that it's important to, so the family that's looking for those same things, they can say, oh, that home's for me because it has those things. Because not every home's going to be everything to everyone.
No, and the chances are pretty great that if you are really enjoying the amenities and you are really loving the location, even though we're all different, there's other people just like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And if you bought in a location that was like, I'm not really excited about going there.
Right.
Neither is anybody else.
Neither is anybody else. Like, so being able to, Deb, one of the things that's key about your rental is you can walk to Pleasure Pier, where it's literally like right behind Boulevard Seafood. I mean, the things that you can get to with a 4-minute walk,
I can see Pleasure Pier from my front
you
porch,
can see
just for
Pleasure
the
Pier from
record.
the front. You can see Pleasure Pier from the
What,
front porch.
and honestly, one of the things that I really enjoy about it
Yeah.
is, like if it's in the evening and all that kind of stuff, you're there on the front porch.
Yeah.
It's far enough away that the noise doesn't bother you, but it's close enough that you kind of hear out in the distance,
The vibrancy of
the
it.
vibrancy
Yeah,
of it.
I
Which,
understand that.
Yeah.
And for me too, with the location of your rental, like if you sit there, you can smell the ocean.
Yeah.
Like it's because it's literally like
Yeah.
you cross the street.
Yep.
So it's an easy. So there are pieces and bits of that. About being close to everything, and some folks want to be want to be close to nothing.
Yeah.
But they still. Why do you go to the beach? To at least go to the beach, hear it, see it, smell it, whatever it is. You may not be sitting on the beach, but being as close to that water as possible.
Well, I just have to personally say, I mean, honestly, I love the location of mine because, yes, I want to see the water, I want to smell the water, I want to have that ambience of the water. But in all honesty, this is just me personally. If I was on the West End,
Yeah.
and it's only beach, and it's like, okay, what do you do after beach? I mean,
Right.
I kind of like
Yeah.
that. I feel like I have the best of both worlds.
do.
I have the beach, I have Pleasure Pier,
Yeah.
I have restaurants. We pull the bikes out
Yep.
from and back, and we take a
Go on a
bicycle ride.
cruise.
Yeah, we go on a cruise. So
I love
anyway.
it. Yes, and we just said cruise. That's a whole different animal with Galveston, the number of ports coming in and people coming in for the cruises. They also need places to stay.
Okay. So share with people that are joining us. They may want to get some information on the financial factors that they should consider.
Yep. So one of the things with a vacation rental as an investment property is a short vacation rentals and short-term rentals. The terms used interchangeably. Short-term rentals. Think of someone coming for a 3 to less than 30-day stay, usually a 3 to 7-day stay, and they're staying for a short period of time. The risk level with someone buying a vacation rental or a short-term rental is different than that of a long-term rental. Mm-hmm. So when you're buying a vacation rental, there is basically some math that you need to do, as with any investment, but looking at what is that mortgage, the principal and interest going to cost you? What are the taxes going to cost you? What is the insurance going to cost you? But also, you pay all the bills. You pay the light bill, you pay the water bill, lawn care, cable. You are literally running a second household. So when you put all of that on a page, you have to make sure that from a number standpoint that the property can perform and know that there's some risk in there.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of a balance, right?
Yep.
Because you may say, hey, my primary objective is to be able to get some income off of it.
Yeah.
Or you may be saying, my primary objective is for me to enjoy it, and if I get
Exactly.
some income that offsets that a little bit,
Right.
I'm happy. So
it can be both of those. And I even have, it's funny, I have a house that I managed that came from one of your agents that we love this property, but the owner came to me and said, hey, we can't make too much money here. So and what it was is for him and what his portfolio looked like was that he wanted to make sure that from a number standpoint that it worked because he didn't want it to exceed, because then there would be some tax implications, which is fair because that's what his portfolio looked at.
well, and so what he's probably doing right now is he wants it to be able to kind of cover itself, but he doesn't want it to be. And so meanwhile, he's still getting to do the depreciation
absolutely.
and probably enjoy the place and all that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
that makes sense.
That's it.
What would you say the difference is between financing a vacation? Did I ask that question?
No, you didn't. You asked about the financing, but
Yeah.
the financing of a vacation rental is very different than that of a homestead or a
Yeah.
primary residence. It's an investment property, and generally percentage, you're not looking at the standard, what is it, 3 to 10% down?
Yeah.
You're looking at closer to 20% down.
Right.
And so just knowing that with a vacation home, it's a second home.
Yeah, so if you're buying a residential home,
Yeah.
you're going to be looking at anywhere for putting down for your down payment,
Yeah.
anywhere typically people are going to put down somewhere between 3 and 25%.
Yeah.
The difference with a vacation rental is you're going to knock out those threes and you're going to move right up to that 20.
Right, it's right up to the 20 really quickly. And just knowing that that also makes it a little bit not necessarily harder to qualify for, but from a number standpoint, there are just other numbers that the financials, that the loan officer, I should say, will look at and make sure from a, you can cover that debt. The debt service is covered.
Yeah. So one of the things, so you've made that decision. We've gone out shopping. I love shopping in Galveston, by the way. It's like as soon as I cross that bridge, it's like
Right.
I could be working, but I just feel like I'm in a different world, right?
Feels like a
And I know
release.
you feel the
I
same
feel
way.
the exact same way. I crossed that causeway. The wind.
Yeah. You found the home. You've got everything arranged.
Yeah.
Now it comes to managing it. So there are several options there.
are.
You could self-manage, which I did that once before.
How'd you like that?
It wasn't that fun. Kind of sucked all the joy out.
Kind of sucks the joy.
Kind of sucked out all the joy. You mean the maids didn't show up when they were? No.
Right. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can.
It happens.
Well, and the first one I had was over on Surfside, so it wasn't a 30-minute drive if I had to go there. It was an hour plus drive, so that made it a little less fun.
Worse. Yep. Yeah.
I want to go then to what does managing. So again, you have a couple of options. Self-management.
You do management is an option. People generally choose it, but I entertain calls all the time where people say, I'm self-managing and I'd like my life back. Because I literally took a call on the way here from
Well,
there.
it's not just that, but every time somebody is clicking on that thing, I mean, you got to be on it.
You got to be on it.
Because otherwise they're moving to the next one.
They move to the next one. Literally, they send a request in about some random question about what kind of coffee maker you have. And if you don't answer that, like within the right amount, and you can have it within the listing, please know. But people want to, sometimes engage. And so once they're there, once you have them hooked, you want to get them booked. That's the thing. So self-management is option number one. The second option is, and they have things in between.
And I do want to say from my own experience, managing the maintenance of the home and the cleaning and all that kind of stuff was easier than managing the bookings.
Absolutely.
Okay, just so you know.
Absolutely.
Just
the bookings.
Just so you know.
Just so you know, the booking part. There are also in between. So we at iTrip, we're a full service management company. We're going to do everything. We want you basically to sit back and collect the payments on a monthly basis. We want to take care of everything. Part of it is that we want to make sure that we take care of our customers. Part of it is we also don't want them in our mix. So it's a little bit of both. But there's also some people that live in the middle. There's a company that will do just your marketing. And then you have someone who's doing the management aspect of it. They'll get your property booked and then you do your own dealing with the cleaners, dealing with the communication of the guests. It's
deposits and
all of that. You do all of that yourself. And then you have your full service managers. And you'll find quite a few of them. What I find really makes us different is that I call like a boutique agency. We're small enough that you matter. You can pick up the phone and get someone on the phone. We'll respond to you. We talk to you. But basically from a full service perspective, we're listing that property. We're marketing that property. We're getting the guests there. We're basically managing the communication. We're getting it cleaned. We're getting it inspected. I call it optimization. We try to optimize it and make it better, and then we do it again. It's a circle with each and every guest that comes in. So that's the difference. So you have self-management, midterm, where people are kind of doing a little bit of booking and managing, and then we have full service, and we're full service.
What kind of challenges do you see most vacation owners face?
Yeah. So I mean, I think I mentioned
it's not all raindrops and bubblegum.
It's not. I mean, even listen, the COVID years were some of the most amazing. We booked, I mean, well, because people were tired of their own four walls. Well, the influx of vacation rentals has made it so that people are, I mean, but the number of rentals, for example, went from 2,800 in Galveston to 4,200 over the course of like a 3-year period.
Yeah.
So the supply is high.
It's very high.
It's just, I mean, and listen, it's already waned. We're already down a couple hundred because folks are moving to midterm, long term, are selling the property.
Well, a lot of that, because go figure, I bought my place. It would have been just fine. And then, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody thought, oh, this is a good idea. So there was certainly an influx in the market,
It was
which means a lot of competition.
lots of competition. And what's crazy is we still have very high demand, but the supply is just through the roof. So it's just not, I mean, like so you have to be able to withstand that.
It's a real factor.
It's an absolute factor. I've lived it myself. I own vacation rentals in that space in Galveston, and I'm living the exact same thing. In addition to that, there's that risk. But in addition to that, you have to also maintain and upkeep the home. You have to be willing to pivot and shift and really be able to say, okay, what else can I do to make my home stand out? And then sometimes, you know what? Guests, listen, I always say 9 out of 10 guests do exactly what you want them to do. They follow the rules, they check all the boxes, and then you have that one guest.
Oh, that was on the news last night, by the way.
Yeah. I think I might have saw the same. That one guest that it's just, like, and so there's that risk as well. So again, it's not all rainbows and lollipops, but in the long run, generally people will do what you ask them to do. And the thing about having a manager and a professional manager is basically we'll take care of that one guest one way or the other. We will take care of it if it's meaning, we reach out to the platform that they booked on. Sometimes it's a call to them and they'll, take care of any issues that they cause. But those are the primary headaches. The other thing I'd like to say is I'd say don't do your homework. You're not likely going to come into the vacation rental space and get rich. Like people have a variety of thoughts and options, and you do quick math.
But we are all watching, what's the name of that show? Actually,
Yeah.
I really like it
You
a
did.
lot.
You told me about it.
Vacation.
It was.
Never,
I know what you're talking about. We're gonna have to post it in the comments because between the two of us, we can't remember it. But it's it's a show where they go in and they renovate the house and they go in and
a little bit of a dump before.
Yes.
It's like maybe I
Yes.
don't even see why the owners wanted to be there.
Right.
And they do all the things that you were just discussing.
exactly
They give the home a story.
That's it. They give it a story and they give it a vibe and make it picture worthy because people come there to document how great their vacation was. But I mean that doesn't necessarily always equal the absolute we're now 60%, 60 to 80% occupied. It just doesn't. It doesn't always equal that.
Give me some ideas. So if my cousin Fred was buying a vacation rental and he didn't want to do because he was trying to save that, because you do charge for your time, right?
I do. I charge for my time, just like realtors.
So let's just say he wanted to just profit that money instead of turning it over to you. Give Fred here some ideas of what he could do marketing wise to get it visible.
Yeah.
And then I think it's fair to say share some of the things that you guys do.
Yeah. That's maybe a little, that's hopefully a little bit different. So if you're self-managing, what I'm finding with self-managers, they generally are listed on one site, Airbnb, RVRBO. That's usually the only two places where they live. Find some software. It's generally only going to cost you about $100 a month that allows you to be listed on multiple platforms. Those, at least the top two, because you'll find that certain homes are more attractive on certain platforms. It's much more of an art than a science. So spend the money to be listed on multiple platforms, number one. Number two, find the right vendors to take care of that property, particularly if you live greater than the 30 minutes away or you're not trying to go there often. You have to have the cleaner that's going to make sure that the house is absolutely taken care of. If there's a maintenance issue, who are you calling? Who's coming to take care of that? There are a lot more rules and regulations within Galveston right now. Join some of the professional organizations. One of the organizations that I'm a board member on, and it's $50 to join, is STROGE. It's Short-Term Rental Owners of Galveston. But you join that organization and you can share resources, you can get information. You can also learn about some of the city's rules and regulations about what you can and can't do in vacation rentals. If you're going to try to market it yourself, make sure you can manage it yourself, but as well, get your home its own little website so that you can send out information, especially to family and friends.
Yeah. And I think most importantly, it's and we've kind of already covered it. It's
Yeah.
one thing to get it out there, and to get the click.
Yeah.
Ultra super important that you respond to it
Oh, absolutely.
like crazy promptly, because otherwise, they're on and they're off just as fast as they were on.
And if you
Right?
think about it, when you're booking, like if you book a vacation rental, if you book an Airbnb or VRBO and they don't respond to you quickly, like it's just a scroll. You just keep on scrolling and you go to the next one. So I'm guilty of it myself. We have very short attention spans. We just all do. And generally we're looking for something like pretty quickly, like in a window of time, depending on where we're going and how many people. The bigger the home, the I say harder it is to book, but like the fewer the possibilities.
Yeah.
It's just you don't have many homes that sleep 16 people. You just don't have as many.
Yeah. Next question you had on here: what challenges might a vacation rental owner face? I think we kind of covered that.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
And then any parting advice for the listeners that might be contemplating an investment such as a vacation rental?
I think you find a good partner. You find a realtor who is familiar with the space, or at least a realtor who can partner you with someone who's familiar with the space. So, I mean, someone from Deb's team could easily connect you with me, or your own, making sure your own realtor. Like, for example, if you're going to buy a condo, you need to know if that condo allows short-term rentals. There are things going on right now in different neighborhoods and HOAs, and you want to be ahead of it. You don't want to buy in a place that
later on you find out you can't
rent there. And right now it's ongoing. There's at least 2 communities I know of in Galveston that are trying to sign and change their designation so that vacation rentals wouldn't be allowed. But if you don't know that, if you don't have a resource to have that information, like, that's an investment.
And there's ways to write up the contract too so that you're protected from that.
Perfect.
And then one of the things too, I'll just say, like, if honestly, myself or anybody from my team is out looking for a vacation rental for one of our clients, I mean, I really appreciate Winter, because I always, once we've kind of identified a home that they are potentially interested in, I always pull Winter in at that point in time, and you'll run a pro forma for them so that, and not that that pro forma is any kind of a written guarantee, but with your experience and your knowledge and your history in doing it, you can kind of have you kind of have input in as to what the expectation should be.
Absolutely. And every pro forma that goes out, it's a rental projection that looks at what are other homes in the area doing, what's their occupancy, what's their average daily rate, ADR. So we look at that and we put that together in the pro forma. But in addition, everyone that goes out, there's a few like caveats, and it's, furnishings matter.
Yeah.
What the home looks like matter. Is it an experience? Does it tell a story? All of those things, market demand, supply, all of those things matter. So we're putting together basically an educational financial projection. It's an estimate of what we think that home will. So I would say absolutely, and be careful when you're trying to get that information yourself from the internet, because some of that information is inflated, just not even, it's just based on it. It includes cleaning, it includes tax. So if you go to certain sites, it's like, oh, look, I can do 72. But once you take everything out, it's really only 55.
Well, and unfortunately, I mean, we see that a lot in our industry, right? They have that clickbait that makes it sound very attractive. And I think, honestly, I think the most important thing is really sit down with somebody that is going to, I don't want to say tell you the truth, but they're not there just, to make that sale happen. They're really there to guide you in the right direction. So that at the end of the day, you end up with what you're expecting.
What you're expecting. That's 100%. We have information is key. That knowledge is power, so that you can make a decision and that you can live through and figure out, oh, this is what I wanted, or you know what, this doesn't work for me. We're going to do something different. We've decided that we don't want a house on the East End. We actually want a house somewhere different. And having that information is knowledgeable.
Yeah. And so, I mean, do you have anything else that you want to wrap up with?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So I'm just going to, out of conclusion, I'm just going to kind of share with you the experience I have on my vacation rental.
Absolutely.
It is nice to go there, and it's a whole different experience than renting a hotel or renting somebody else's place for the evening, right? Because it just feels like home, in a nice place. I'll share with you guys that when I look at the rental that we get for the couple of places that we have,
Yeah.
right? A rental house would do better, and it's predictable. Once you get a tenant in there, you know what's coming every single month.
Very true.
I can say that's not the same with the vacation rental. However, I don't have the pleasure, nor would I want to go and spend the night at one of my rental homes.
Right.
So the income, I would say, is not predictable. I don't think well, I know it doesn't offset our costs.
Yeah.
However, we do have the pleasure of being able to use it. And I know, especially in my particular case, you know, I've had clients that needed a place
Yeah.
to live in between. They sold their house.
Right.
Now they're homeless for
Yeah.
a period of time until their new house is ready. So it's been kind of nice to have clients to put in there.
That's it.
I will share with you this, though, even though it hasn't necessarily been like rental profitable, what I bought it for and what I'll be able to sell it for, so actually,
Yeah.
we're going to have another follow-on video, by the way, because we are going to actually go and look at my property.
I love it.
Because I'm going to be there where I'm going to decide, okay, am I going to pull out of it now and capitalize on the investment that I made, and it'll be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Compared to what I've,
Done for the last
purchased
2
it for.
years. Sure.
Or am I going to storify it a little bit
Right.
and hold on to it a little bit longer? So I guess we'll see you guys in that next video. And
More to
again,
come.
if you have any questions, I'm going to tag Winter on here. Be on the lookout for any questions. Would be happy, or just reach out to either one of us personally.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Have a good day.